What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Kroopin, and on today's episode, I am coming to you from my front porch because we're still trying to figure out how to make the world go around, balance all the plates without dropping them, and so I'm just using my phone and a microphone and Mr. Producer to get this podcast rolling. Every single part of me wanted to come on this podcast and just tell you how I just feel like my whole world's falling down around me. Debbie Downer, rename me Debbie because I'm being a downer. But I said, you know what, Erica? No, you can't do that. You can't do that. So, what's another thing that's got me down? What's another thing that is top of mind right now, especially now that we're in August? We're in the dog days of the summer. It's here in Michigan. It's rainy, it's thick, it's hot, it's muggy, it's just ugh. So, I figured on today's episode, I just wanted to talk about surviving August, surviving the heat, some best practices, and how to get your mind right when you're out there and you're just sweating your butt off and maybe your body hurts, you're having a bad day, everything is going wrong, and the last thing that you want to be doing is scooping dog poop out in the heat. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, stay tuned. But I can't help myself. So if you are interested about like in what's going on with me, I'll tell you. I'll get you up to speed. I don't remember what I said last week, but basically, I had to let my long term employee go. I've been an emotional wreck. It's been terrible. It's been an awful experience. Physically, emotionally, I have not scooped this many houses in quite some time. So I'm feeling like a little baby because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got all these houses. But then the other side of me is like, Erica, you should be so grateful that you were so blessed to have a business that has all of these houses. So it's like that mindset mind shift where I just have to I need to lean on being more grateful than resentful, even though I'm in a bad mood. So that happened. And not only is it the physical part, but having to answer all of the questions for the customers. They're wanting to know. They're like, where's my scooper at? What happened to her? They want to know because they loved and absolutely adored her. It's been really tough, but unfortunately things that were happening behind the scenes, things had to happen. And when it comes down to it, you have to do what's best for your business and what your insurance says. Your insurance is what I swear hires and fires people. They are the dictators. So that has been incredibly difficult, and the communication, just having to let them know. Some people want like a detailed explanation, wanting to know. And then I've been interviewing a lot of people. I interviewed several people, had them set up an interview for them to come in and shadow. A couple people showed up, and I ended up hiring one guy, and he's been doing a pretty good job so far. But just that transitional period, introducing him to the homeowners, because we're still pretty small. So, they're used to seeing the same person all the time, and I want to let them know like, hey, you have a new technician, so they're not kind of like, who's this person in my backyard? Where's my person at? So there's been a lot of communication. I let them know that their old scooper is no longer with us. Let them know that our their new scooper, here's his name. I believe he has the necessary notes. If you have any feedback, please let us know because that's going to help him and us do better through the grace period or through the training period of the 90 days, the 90-day training period. Basically, just letting them know, like, have some grace. We're trying to get things figured out. And there's been complaints. I've gotten complaints. My husband's been out scooping and he's scooped with me before, but he's not like a seasoned scooper. So he's missing some piles. I'm stressed out to the max. And so I'm not doing my best. I fell down the stairs. Was it last week? And I'm pretty banged up. Like my upper back is shot. I can barely move my neck up and down. I need to go to the chiropractor and I need to go maybe to a massage therapist. And if that doesn't help, possibly to the doctor to see what's going on. And then the stress. All I want to do is crawl up in a ball and lay down. That's all I want to do. I'm sick to my stomach when I wake up every morning and I just lay in bed and instead of crying, I just pray. And I've been taking some deep breaths and talking to my husband and just kind of making do and just leaning back into the business. And when you have limited like energy and limited time, you have to figure out like what's the most important, what do you really need to focus on. My business is what's the most important. So I haven't been able to make YouTube videos. I do want to keep this podcast going. I'm figuring it out, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that I'm thriving, but we're surviving over here. Okay, so that's what's going on. I'm still dealing with the insurance company. This gap insurance is a nightmare. Stay tuned. I'll let you know how it all works out. But it's been a month. It's been a month since the accident with the car, and nothing's been paid off. I still have to make my car payment. So that's frustrating. So I think we're all up to speed. I've been an emotional wreck. Business is still going. I did get a new scooper in, getting him trained and going through the whole process of training a new person, especially like when you're used to things running like pretty smooth in your business and then they're not running pretty smooth. It's like, my gosh. I'm just sick to my stomach. But all right. So that's what's going on. And thank you to everybody that reached out to me. I just had my birthday on July 30th, which was a Tuesday. So thank you so much to everybody that reached out. You guys are so awesome. I truly, truly appreciate it. Now, let's get into surviving the summer heat, scooping out in this heat, August, summer burnout, regular burnout, all of it. Like, do you have that feeling where you just want to lay down and sleep for a long time? Maybe not forever. You don't want a perpetual like sleep forever, but you definitely would like to do nothing for maybe a year or two. That's what Josh and I were talking about this morning when we were on our walk. I said, I think I'm finally at the point in my life now where I just don't want to do anything. I want to do nothing. So we were kind of talking about paying off all of our bills because we don't owe that much on our house. We owe like maybe 38 or 48,000 on our house. It's not a lot. We got a very good deal in this house, but we do have a leaking. We have a leak, another leak at this house. We just turn it into a swimming pool. We're like, what if we just pay off all of our bills? We live more minimally and then we just work less. So we were fantasizing about that this morning, about possibly just living a more simple life and doing less. Stay tuned to see how that goes as well. So because we're both really burnt out. And I do have some notes on my phone. So if I do upload this onto YouTube, the reason why I keep looking down is because I have notes on my phone because I ran out of ink. So I couldn't even print this off because I don't have any ink for my printer. It's wild over here. It really is. So, working outside in general has its own set of challenges, like working when it's cold out, when it's rainy out, whatever it is. Everybody has their season. Everybody has their like ideal temperature that they love to work in. Me, I love it. I love fall. I love the winter. I don't love the heat. I don't like sticking to myself. And so August it's a tough time. And you really have to be forward thinking when you are working out in the heat because anything and everything that can go wrong with your body, I swear will go wrong with the heat. Just like in the winter, if you have issues with your car's going to break down in the winter. Like whatever jankety thing you got going on with your car, the winter is going to break it. And that's how I feel about the summertime. Like if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not hydrating yourself, if you're not eating the most healthy, when you're out there scooping and it's 90 plus degrees, it's hot, you're moving and grooving, the likelihood of you having an accident like pooping your pants. Literally, there are people that are out here pooping their pants because their stomachs are so upset because they eat greasy food or the weather is too hot and they end up having a situation because of the heat. And your body can do some really weird stuff if you're not staying hydrated. So think about this. Whatever you do last night is going to affect you today. So you want to eat healthier food. Stay away from the fried foods because that will just tear your stomach up in this heat. You want to be hydrating. You want to be adding a little bit of salt to your water so you're able to retain the water. You want to have those electrolytes. You want to stay away from the sugary beverages. You want to try to get more rest because the sun is just, and I'm just here in Michigan. I'm not even in the hot parts of the world like Arizona and Florida and California. Like, you guys are just, I don't know if I would be able to hang. So kudos to you guys that are out there doing it. But I have picked up some tips from you guys. I know that there are many companies out there that are starting extra early, and that's what we've been doing. I've been having the new staff meet at 7 a.m. so they can grab their keys, check their vehicle, and they're out the door. It's just better to get a head start earlier in the day. So hopefully we don't have as many houses by like 2 or 3 o'clock, because here in Michigan it is so very hot, but between like 2 and 4. So if you can, a little tip, get started extra early. And Jessica from Pause to Bark over in Canada, she gets started like just like when the sun comes up. Like she gets started super early. And I used to be like, "You're up before Jesus. You're crazy." I get it now. I get it. Sometimes it just takes time to learn things in business before it like clicks in your brain. So if you can, get started extra early. Reach out to like maybe 3 or 4 of your customers and say, "Hey, do you mind if I get like a 7 a.m. start, or 7:15 or 7:30, or whatever the time frame is?" Not everybody's going to be cool with that. Just know. But if you can find, 4 to 6 people that are cool with having a super early start, then you're solid for the rest of the day. You can get your houses done and hopefully be done before you hit that dangerous scorching heat. Cuz the other day I was out scooping and it was around 2, and all of a sudden I just started to get like dizzy. I wasn't really feeling well. I felt like I was getting tunnel vision. I was One of the customers came out and was talking to me, and I felt like he was so far away, like down a hall. And I was like, "Holy crap, like I need to go into a cool place." And so my vehicles have air condition. Hopefully, your vehicles have air condition too. Blast yourself with the AC, get yourself hydrated. And if something really is wrong, you need to go get medical attention, and you definitely need to get looked at, because heat stroke is a real deal thing, and it's super serious. And we might think like we're not in a backyard that long, like we're only back there for like 7 to 10 minutes. But sometimes you get into those backyards, like those medium and large yards, where you're back there for 20, 30, 40 minutes, getting your ass handed to you, and you're having to walk around and you're scooping the dog poop. And sometimes in those middle of those yards, I need to take a break. And I think to myself, like, I'm just out of shape. I think I'm just out of shape. Very well could be out of shape, but that means that I'm more prone to getting heat stroke. And so just be aware. I don't want to see anybody get seriously hurt out here. Working outside is completely doable. Tons and tons and tons of people do it. That's literally what we do. We just have to plan ahead. Make sure we have our beverages, lots of good hydrating beverages. And I'm not sure if you know this, but coconut water is very hydrating, and it has electrolytes in it as well. So if you're a coconut water type person, try some coconut water. Add that to the rotation of the beverages that you be drinking and stuff. Try to stay away from the pop. I know. I know. Just try to stay away from the pop. It's really not hydrating. And I've been trying to lay off the coffee, but if I do have coffee, I put these salt packets in my coffee, which my husband's like, "That's disgusting." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." I drink my coffee black and I add these flavored salt packets to it. I think it's delicious. I think having a 4 and 4, 4 creams and 4 sugars in a coffee is disgusting. And if you do that, you're a fake coffee drinker. And I would literally shit myself. I would shit myself. Sorry to be vulgar, but that's what would end up happening out in this heat if I had any type of dairy. It'd be awful. Prepare yourself with drinks. Prepare yourself with a good lunch, good food. Have some fruit, have some vegetables. I know you're like, "What?" That stuff is very, very refreshing. Some cold fruit while you're out scooping. And if you haven't ever frozen, if you haven't ever freezed grapes, purple grapes freeze very well, and they are just such a delicious frozen treat, especially when you're out there scooping. I don't really like to freeze the green ones, they just don't freeze as well, but the red purple ones freeze way better. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Also, what you're wearing. I know a lot of scoopers want to wear like tank tops, and they want to wear like short sleeve shirts. I used to do that in the beginning as well, but now I'm wearing long sleeve like fisherman type shirts, because I really want to keep the sun off of my skin. I have a lot of sun damage on my arms. If you're looking at the video, you can tell like the front part of my arm is like super freckly, and then the inner part of my arm is like nice and smooth and porcelain white, and it's just like, like what my skin could look like if I would have taken better care of it. we only get one shot. We only get one shot with our skin. So you definitely want to cover it up, cover up your face, cover up your ears, cover up your nose, cover up your arms. Just cover everything up if you can. Sunscreen it up. Either do manual or chemical, just to keep yourself safe. And you're not baking your skin, so you're going to be less hot. You might think like, oh, I got all this stuff on me, I'm going to be super hot. I feel like I'm less hot when I'm covered up because I'm not cooking my skin, and I can still feel the breeze through the shirts because they're still breathable. They're just protecting me from the sun. You want to have a wide brimmed hat. I like the fisherman bucket hats because I'm able to flip the front up and down if I need more sun, if I need less sun. It's covering up my neck, it's covering up my nose, it's covering up my ears. You definitely want to make sure you're covering up your nose and the tops of your ears because that area gets exposed to a lot of sun. And I know people that have had the top of their ear cut off because they had cancer, the C word. It's serious, especially for us that work outside. It's scary. It's scary to think about. And then there's things such as like cooling towels, neck fans, all that kind of stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, I personally don't want to have a cooling fan around my neck. I don't like anything heavy around my neck, so that doesn't really work for me. Another little tip that I like to do, switching over to routing, if you have a lot of very large yards, if you're able to switch those yards over into the morning when it's less hot out and the sun isn't beating down on you, you might have to flip your route around. I don't really know how that works for you, but for me, the end of my route where I usually end, I have the largest yards. These are like large to medium yards, and they take like 30 to 40 minutes per yard. And at like 2, 3 o'clock, it sucks to do those. So we actually are flipping our route around and doing those in the morning so they're out of the way. So then we can have the smaller, quicker yards as the day gets hotter. And that just takes communicating with your customers. I just let them know, say, hey, normally we scoop you in the afternoon, but it's too hot. We need to scoop you earlier in the day to beat the heat. And they're like, okay, I get it. No worries. And even if they were like, no, you can't do that, say, we are. We are doing that because we're trying to stay safe out here and we need to do what's best for staying safe out in these yards. And I know our ticket price for our services is lower. So we need to do volume, we need to do more. I get that. But you still want to make sure that you're budgeting time to be able to take a break and be able to cool off and hydrate as needed. Okay, so you need to be able to take care of yourself. So that's why starting earlier, I do feel is better. And if you raise your prices, if you do have a higher price point, you can do less houses and make the same amount of money. Take that into consideration. I do have a higher price point, and so we do between 20 and 25 houses. So a lot of times we're making just as much money as another company that is like local that's doing like 30 to 35 houses, but their prices are way lower. So it's like, it's better, I feel like. Like. Those people that hate it when I say the word like, I know, I'm working on it. I'm sorry. But it is. It is better to do less houses and make the same amount of money. So think about your price point. And nothing makes you think about your price point when you're out there sweating your butt off. It's hot. The last thing you want to be doing is scooping that yard and you're thinking like, I'm only charging $17 for this yard. These dogs poop all over the place. One dog's pooping in a flower pot. Like how do they poop in a flower pot? You know, how do they get their butthole up there? You know, you start thinking about all the things and it really gets you. So when you're out here on this in this heat and things are really starting to bother you, make sure you jot those down so when it starts to slow down or lighten up and it's not as bad out, you know what you need to work on in your business during the slower seasons because that stuff won't really be bothering you later on. At least with me, it doesn't bother me. And I'm like, oh, out of sight, out of mind. I don't care. But if I write it down, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a problem. I know I need to fix this. So now I want to switch over to the mindset part of it. This is a tough one. This is a tough one to kind of get through. At least it was for me. I know last Saturday I was in the backyard I was crying. I was crying as I was scooping. I was mad at myself. I was mad at the insurance company. I was mad at my employee because I was like, oh God, why did another accident have to happen? Why? Why? And just thinking about like, what am I going to do? Like I was just scared, just scared about my business and having your business riding on one person is scary. It really is scary. And so it was just a huge eye opener of like a lot of changes that I needed to make. And I came home, I told my husband, I was like, I'm done. I'm shutting it down. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired. I'm just tired. I just want to lay down. And I didn't say this out loud, but I was thinking, I was like, I just want to lay down and not wake up. Just want to lay down and not wake up for like a long time. Cause that's like how stressed out and how tired I was. And it's embarrassing and weird to even admit this, but it's the truth and it's the reality. And I want you guys to have a transparent look into like what it's like for me as an entrepreneur and as a person. We're all built differently. You know, we all have different emotional thresholds. And when that heat's kicking, my threshold is like way lower than it ever could be. Like usually I'm pretty chill. I keep it together, just kind of like process stuff. But yeah, I was just in the backyard, just bawling my eyes out. I'm like, I'm not even doing a good job scooping right now because my head is literally all over the place. Oh, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I gotta go meet Charles at the farm. We're headed over to a farm. Maybe I'll get a little bit of footage and show you guys what the farm looks like. I did a lot of praying. You know, I was talking to God a lot, just having some conversation, and not in the sense of like, why is this happening to me? I don't know if I can handle this. Just, just talking to Him and saying, like, I know you're with me. I know that if I lean into you and you'll give me your grace, and I trust that you are going to guide me through this. I trust that you've equipped me with the ability to keep going and find a new scooper. I do trust, like, I don't believe God's just going to be like, "Poof, here's your perfect scooper. Here you go." But he has sent me people that have been able to guide me and give me resources and show me what, an ideal scooper looks like, and have realistic expectations of starting all over again. I'm basically like starting all over again with a new full-time scooper. And so it's just like that's what I had to do, just lean into my faith. And I was really upset because I missed church on Sunday. Like I was very upset because I was like, I'm out here scooping. Like the anarchy order is completely out of line. It's supposed to be, the Lord, your spouse, your kids, and then your work. And right now it's work, spouse, the Lord, kids, myself. Everything is just not good. It's not going well. And so if you're mentally not doing okay and you're just feeling depressed and you're feeling anxious and you're feeling like, I just don't know if I can keep all of this up, just know that it's normal, especially for this time of the year and you have the burnout. The heat will pass, but you have to deal with like what the root cause of the issue is. So if you need to readjust, if you need to get your list of priorities in order, take the time to do that. Reach out to people that you have in your circle, lean back into your faith. And if you don't have faith, and if you aren't walking with the Lord, maybe it's time to do so, because I'm not here to preach. I don't even know any passages out of the Bible by heart. I don't know a single one. But what I do know is when I open my Bible and I start reading instead of scrolling on social media, I feel better. I feel like I can take some deeper breaths. I have a sense of calmness that comes over me. It may not last forever. It lasts for a nice period of time, so I can collect my thoughts and keep it moving, take care of what I need to take care of, be kinder to my husband, be kinder to myself, maybe not be so selfish, but just be more intentional with it and know that it's going to pass. Find yourself some good upbeat music or maybe a good message on YouTube or a good podcast that you can listen to. My husband's been listening to Caleb Allman, the Kid Contractor podcast, a lot recently, and that's been really helping him. And he goes on his walks in the morning, he takes his coffee, and he listens to Caleb's podcast. That's the first podcast my husband has ever listened to. When my husband quit his job and started his own business, Josh was mentally not doing all right. He was not okay. He was like, "What did I just do?" type deal. It was like the stress of everything. And so he started listening to Caleb's podcast. And Caleb and Brittany, they got it going on. Like they have a 7 or 8 figure business. They have a contractor business, so it's a lot different than what we're doing. but they're just raw and real people. And sometimes it's a train wreck. Like listening to his podcast, it's a mess, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the dedication. I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the dedication to come and produce the podcast when everything seems to be falling around. And he doesn't make excuses for himself at all. He is like, he'll apologize, like, oh, I'm sorry, but he's unapologetic. Like, this is who I am. And I love that so much. And I don't know if Caleb is going to listen to this. He probably won't. But Caleb, your podcast helped my husband get through probably one of the darkest times that he's had in quite some time. So think about that when you are not feeling your best and you're just trying to push through. Know that you're showing up for your customers. You're showing up for people that need you. And that's important. And so you got to do what you got to do on the back end so you can show up. And it reminds me of Brian Fullerton when he said, "Who wins when you succeed?" Who wins when you succeed? And that's the reason why I keep wanting to do my podcast and I keep wanting to put the content out, because I know that you're listening and you're watching it. And even if just one person connects with this and it keeps them going in personal life or in business or in a relationship as a female or whatever it is, it's completely worth it. So that's why I kind of grab my little microphone over here, plug in my phone, sit on my front porch, wait for Charles to message me. I'm going to go meet him at the farm because it's a big property and I don't know how to explain to scoop it, so I need to show him type deal. But just do the things that you got to do to get your head right. And if it's too much and you're too exhausted, it's okay to schedule some rest days. And you might be like, I don't have time. I don't have time. I have all this work that I need to get done. If you don't take care of yourself one way or another, your body will start to shut down on itself. Your body will figure out a way to make you rest. It's happened with Josh. It's happened with me. It happened with my dad. And it could be something as little as you just get sick, you get a stomach bug, you can't leave the house, or something as serious as you've been running and running and running and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not hydrating, you're not taking your blood pressure medications like you should, because your body is giving you cues that it's not doing okay, and you ignore it and you have a bad headache and you decide to take some pain medicine and go to sleep. A, you might not wake up, or B, the reason why you had a bad headache was because you were actually having a stroke and you wake up and you're blind. Well, partially blind. That's what happened to my dad in 2020. He was ignoring the signs, running himself ragged. I got to do this. I got to do this event. I got to make sure this is clean. I gotta. And he didn't go to the doctor and he didn't get himself looked at. And now he's legally blind. He can't drive. He has no lower vision or peripheral vision. And this is the second stroke that he's had. And there's countless stories like this of things that happen to people. So please just take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. And I'm not saying with the mental health, you should lay around and do nothing and cry, my mental health, I can't do anything. That's not what I'm here to say. I have mental health struggles, but I figure out a way to work with my mental health and cope with what's going on, to be able to be a functioning member of society, be productive, be a value to other people, be a value to myself, and be somebody that I am proud of, to where I can hold my head high. And I understand that some people do have deeper mental health issues. I get that. But I think life choices also play into a lot of the mental health stuff. Like when you start drinking and you're doing hard drugs, that is also changing the chemical makeup of your brain. Can you come back from that type of stuff? I don't know. I have no idea. I've never done anything like that, so I don't know what that life is like. But I am a firm believer that if you stay focused and focus on what the goal is and just try not to get distracted from it, and do whatever you need to do to create a bubble around you to make it happen, you can succeed and you can get through the tough season. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I have to go change. I got to meet Charles at the farm and show him what's up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I think I covered everything that I needed to. If you have not gave me a an Apple review on Apple Podcasts, could you do that? Could you? Please, for the love of God. I need some more reviews. So maybe some more people can find this podcast. And we can help some other people and we can keep growing this community. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, bye.